Well, hey, welcome back to the channel. It's Thursday evening. It's been a heck of a week at the regular job, so I've gotten very little done, but one thing I did get done is I got my new grill piece painted and put on, and well, that's really there's a big nick out of it, and I don't know how that happened because it was perfect when I put it on there. We had a heck of a storm last night, so maybe something flew around and hit it, but dang it, now I'm gonna have to pull it back off and paint it. So anyway, I got the wing windows painted, which was good because before the rain I didn't want them rusting, so that's all good. So that water running right there shouldn't be there. It was much higher. All of this chaff on the driveway is where the water ran across the driveway this morning, and all that chaff, because we got a lot of rain last night. I'd say we had 3 to 4 inches. We had tornado warnings. Luckily the storms weakened just before they got here, so we didn't have any tornadoes. But back in the beans, you can see there's water every place. Mrs. Ohio MM's garden back there's still got water in it, but this is what happens. And then the pond's on the other side of the house, and the fish come out and swim around the whole backyard when it's high like that. So what are you gonna do? A lot of rain all in a very short period of time. So anyway, tonight first thing on the agenda is I'm gonna measure all of my hoses that I need that are not hydraulic hoses, or that are these type of hoses here. I need to measure those and get a list what I need from Napa. I'm gonna get those. The other thing I'm gonna try to at least start on, if not accomplish, is getting the water manifold off so I can replace the hose up there that I've been talking about. But on this tractor, in order to do so, I need to remove this bracket that holds the filter for the propane. I need to remove this bracket that's a brace for those steel lines. I need to remove the coil. I need to probably unhook the tack cable. There's a whole bunch of stuff I got to take off here in order to get to that. So that's one of the things I've got to get done, because my buddy Rob's getting the hoods painted right now. He's making progress with that. The radiator will be back next week. Oliver Phil's getting my hydraulic lines and everything else done. So I got to do my part and get this done. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'll try to bring you guys along at the point when I get some of this stuff stripped back and I pull that manifold off. And first things first, I got to measure hoses so that I can get those bought at Napa tomorrow. All right, so basically I took off the spark plug wires. I took off those hydraulic lines that came out of the pump, and the one that came back there, they're outside. And of course I got oil on everything. I tried not to, but I did. I just unhooked the propane filter, which is here, and it took the coil off and set it down. So I think I can just take off the 2, 4, 6 bolts holding that on and slide the manifold back. I need to loosen the hose clamps on the hose up there itself. I don't think I need to move the distributor cap. I don't think I need to take off those two. I think we should be good, but I'm going to loosen up those hose clamps on that hose right now and see how much antifreeze runs out, and then work on removing that manifold. All right, that wasn't too bad. Not too much antifreeze came out when that came off. So I just need to work this back this way to get it out of there. I've got my hose up there loose, so I'll see if I can, trying to think where I can put you guys. Sorry, I'm gonna jostle you around and put the tripod up so you can see me pull this off. There, the manifold's off, pretty easy. There's not a whole lot of gasket material left on there. I'll clean all that up. And then the hose itself, there's a line that goes, since this is a propane, I'll bring you guys up to see it. The line that goes across here from the water pump to the regulator. It would go to the regulator over there to help heat it up, to help vaporize the propane. So it's kind of in the way there, but I'm trying to snake this out of here without. There we go. And it's out. And as you can see, that hose was a failure waiting to happen. Not much left on that one. So get my new hose. I'll clean everything up with over here. Grind all these down. I have new gaskets. I'll do the same on the manifold. I'll get my hose. I have clamps for it already. I could probably get this back on here tonight, actually. Let's see what I can do. Everything else looks pretty good. There's part of the gasket. It's just breaking apart. So, all right. Let me clean this up and we'll be right back. All right, we'll clean these up real quick. A little more on there than I thought. Get that surface nice and smooth. That one's pretty good. I'm not going to make you listen to that for the other two, but I'm going to do that for the other two, and then we'll do it down on the manifold. Alright, I got gasket sealer on both the manifold and on the blocks. I got lubed up the end here to fit into the hose. I'm going to slide this on, and then I'll hold it out and put my gaskets in and hopefully not mess up my Yep, that worked. So, but not real good because, all right, gotta fit a bolt in to hold the top. Okay, there's one. Should have planned this out a little bit better. Yep, just dropped something in the drain pan, which is always awesome. Story of my life. If it falls, the drain pan will catch it. All right, so I got all three on. actually come back out just a fuzz. I just want to start these so I know that they're where they should be. And then I'll line up the bottoms. Okay. And did that wrong on the very first one because this coil bracket's got to go on there. So I'm going to pull that back off. Knew I was forgetting something. I always do. Okay, so those are in. Make sure I'm not forgetting any other brackets, but I don't think so. Then I can put my 3 on the bottom. Them started. Make sure the gasket is where it needs to be. You could probably visually do this. All right, so they've all been started. I'm going to push the hose up here back a little bit because it's not a ton grabbing on the, well, I'm gonna have to get a different tool for that. But anyway, now that I have these down, I can tighten those back down and kind of go back and forth here. Yes, I know. That's where I started. Not thinking. And that one I have to do with the ratchet because a regular takes it's real thin in there to get to. I pulled a muscle in my neck last night sleeping. Don't ask me how, but I did. Sleeping of all things. And it's been bugging me all day. I know I've had multiple people tell me it's because I'm getting old. I get it, but it doesn't make it hurt any less. All right, got all those tight. I can see my gasket material coming out between each one of those. Kind of want to reposition the hose up there just a little, although I do think I have a pretty good bite on that. I want to just shove it back a little. Tighten my hose clamps down up there. and then that part will be done. Then I can start putting everything back together here. So I didn't expect to get this far tonight, but this is pretty simple. This is a lot more simple than the A4T was. All right, this might be it for tonight, because I'm going to go in and eat after this and then go to bed, because I've had no sleep this week. I was going to get sleep last night, and then these storms rolled through, and you know, once you have to get back out of bed to go downstairs to see if you need to go to the basement, it's kind of hard to fall back asleep. So, all right, I'll bring you guys back tomorrow, and hopefully we're getting some more done on this, you know, over the weekend. And it's just nice to see the sun and the A4T sitting out in the sunlight. All right. Well, a little bit of time's gone by. I started this video last weekend, then got busy with projects around here, and that lasted basically all week. But yesterday I went to Oliver Phil's and I picked up hoses and alternator and different things for this. I've been starting to put things back on. He did some brazing on this piece here because it was leaking around where that fixed nut is. We've got a couple hoses back on. I did get the hose. I should have had the camera on because this was not fun. I see why they probably moved this filter, because it's not real easy to access. And to tighten that on that line on that side of the filter is not, can barely, I don't know. I don't even know if it's tight enough. I can't really get a wrench in there. But I got that hooked up to the to where it goes into the pump there, and then I've got the line coming down that will go to one of the cylinders. Oh yeah, I got the cylinders back too. They were steering cylinder and the lift cylinders. He rebuilt those. So anyway, today the goal, I guess, is to get this thing back together, because I need to get it back outside so that I can pull the rear tires off both sides and sandblast the white cast centers and paint those. I did just get that line just back on. Got all my little rubber hoses that I've replacing on. Those things are such a pain to get on. The worst ones though are these little ones, because they got metal in there and they do not want to shove on, and those things are a nightmare. I'm really struggling with those, and it's not going to be fun now that stuff's back on the tractor to try to get that stuff forced on. But cylinders are out here. When he cleaned them up, they were a lot of the paint was gone, so I just rattle canned a coat of IH Federal Yellow on them just so they won't rust and they kind of match up. But I got those done last night. I'm letting them cook out here in the sun. The old filter there. So that's what I got going. I'm going to try to make some progress on this today, but at some point Oliver Phil's going to call. We're going to go over and try to put the rear window in the other A4T. He's going to be over there working on Eric's old grain truck. He's going to have the welder there, so we can get that window in, and I can get the tarp off that cab, because I've been trying to keep the weather from being inside of that cab. And talked to Moline Dan this morning. He wanted some old dealer decals for his ZB's working on, so I'm going to try to help him out with that. So it's been busy, but you know, this week was a lot of getting things done around here. It's that time of the year. You can't work on tractors all the time. So sorry for the week off of videos, but you know, we'll get this one done, and I'm going to pull those off. I do have new tires for this, but I'm going to dismount those, sandblast the rims, paint those too, so the cast centers and the rims will be nice and white. And Rob has been working hard on my hood and all of that. You can see over here I did get this put back together with the new Record radiator in it, but those sides there Rob painted for me. They're a little dirty because I had dirty hands when I was putting that thing back together, which putting that tank back on there and getting everything lined up and remembering how it goes, I should have taken better pictures, but it was kind of a pain. But I've got that there, so once I get the steering cylinder back in and get some things done, I can remount the radiator. So that's what I got going. I'll film this as I keep going to get this back together, and we'll hopefully, if it's not today, then maybe tomorrow. It's supposed to be hot all week, So that's good to get this outside, sandblast it and paint it, I guess, or just the centers. But it's still a lot of prep and tenting and taping and making sure that sand doesn't get on everything, and then when I paint it, the paint doesn't get on everything. But that's all part of it, I guess. All right, I'm gonna run in the house and eat a sandwich real quick and come back out and get back to work. All right, I ate a sandwich and I came back out, and then I just fought getting this line that comes from the controls down to the cylinder, and then that line that goes across to there. Man, they fought me getting threaded up. I mean, there's been some language drop today. Anyway, got the cylinders back on, and got the plates back on here to hold the cylinders on. I just remembered there's, for some reason, they stuck these cotter pins through these pins on this side to make sure that they didn't back out, I guess. But I don't know how they could back out because there's a plate holding it in. But I'll probably put those back in. So somebody in 50 years or less can wonder why I did it that way. All right, so I think since I'm back here, I'm going to work on putting the remote lines on. I just got to figure out how those go, and kind of labeled them. And Phil didn't really label them when he put them back together. Just giving you a hard time, Phil. Just got to figure out what goes with what, because there's two long ends that go over here. I got to figure out. I think it's not going to be too hard, but that's next on the list. And just all that laying there. I don't know where that came from. Always good when you have extra nuts laying around. All right, this wasn't so bad. Got the remote hoses on with the new couplers, and yeah, they wasn't too bad. You can see kind of how they're in there, and they got snap rings holding them in. Just wondering, I kind of paused there. This hose might need to be readjusted because there's a cover that goes over that. That hose might interfere, but I can always change that later. But I think I'm pretty much done here on the back. Got the cylinders on, got all the pins in, that in. Yeah, so now I can move back up towards the front, and I think I need to tighten down some of these hoses that I put on last night, and then start and put the steering cylinder on and tighten that down, and then get my tie rod back in, get my front end straightened back around, and then I can start looking at putting the radiator back on, I think. All right, so tightened up things up there, tighten the power steering pump back up, but I decided I've got to get this rear wheel back on before I mess with the front end, because I'd rather have this on both tires in the back, and there's no reason not to. I kept the tire off so that I could work back here and get all that tightened up, but now that that's done, get this tire back on. It's kind of ironic. I got to put it back on so I can get this done, to pull it outside to take it and the other side back off so I can paint those, but it's just what I got to do. So that's what I'm gonna have to do, and I want to get that front end done so I can get this thing maybe started. So I'm gonna go out and wheel that tire in and wrestle it back on there, and then we'll work on the front end. All right, got it on, or lined up. I don't have it on yet, but show you what I did. I have an old broken spud bar I kind of put underneath with the block there so I can stand on it. I put the little cutout at the top, and then I use a pry bar in here to get that centered, and then I stand on it and kind of shove the rim up to get that lined up in there. And once that's lined up in there, then I can start putting on my nuts, and I don't know what you'd call these things, but keepers maybe. So anyway, once those are on, I'll go around and put all those on. I'll tighten them up, and I'll get this thing off the jack stand, and we'll be good to go. So this all comes off pretty easy, because if you didn't watch the video when I switched out the rims, that was not easy, and there's a rim that's all cut apart on the side of the barn to show how easy that was not. But now that I've got this done, I kind of never seized everything, so this is much easier now. All right, I got them all back on there. Now we'll tighten it down. Just snug them at first. I don't really like the way this one is. It kind of went in a little bit cockeyed. There we go. All right, now we'll tighten it down. Come on, cooperate. Let's see. Did I do this one? I think I did. And we're tight, and I will jack up the floor jack and get the jack stand out. This is not a light tractor. And it doesn't help when I'm tripping over everything in here. Alright, jack stands down. It's not going to hit anything when I let this down. We're back on all fours, kind of. Looks good. My line that goes from the pump underneath here, it is down a little bit low, but I don't think that's gonna, I don't think that'll cause any issues. It's a pretty heavy line. It would take a whole lot to catch that thing and cause a problem. So it's better than it was before. It looped out up here and almost hit the wheel. I can say that what was supposed to be on there's a metal line, and Joe Pro put one on his, and he basically had to disassemble the whole back of the tractor because of the way that it weaves through there. So you can see how tight it is in there to get to that filter, so that's why I took the wheel off. But anyway, I wasn't going to do that. He told me about his experience, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use a rubber line, because I don't think metal, you know, I think rubber is more easily replaced. I can talk. It's because it's hot. I need to drink more water. All right, I'm going to clean some stuff out of the way up here, jack up the front end, get the steering cylinder back on, and get my tie rod hooked back up over here. And once that's done, I'll check everything out, make sure everything's okay, and then we'll work on putting the radiator back on. All right, so sometimes you got to remind yourself that you do this for fun and because you enjoy doing it, because today has been a little trying. Helps if you put the radiator hose on right, not the small end this way. You put the big end this way. So I fought that for a while until I'm like, why is this not fitting? And then I spun that hose around and it fit. I'm just gonna take a deep breath there. And then I really fought getting this line on because there's steel in there. So that was not fun. And so now I've got the radiator basically back on. I just bolted it down. Now I'm gonna have to fight here and here to get those lines on. And those are gonna be, I think, like Battle Royale. I'm not filming some of this because you don't want to hear what I'm saying. It's just been one of those days, like everything has fought me. I know I'm not the only one that has those days. And I took a deep breath, like, but love this tractor. This is all like paying it forward for this thing. So deep breath, keep working. It's all worth it. Really wanted to be done with this project by now, but not so much. So Phil's going to be calling soon. We'll be going over to put that rear window in the other A4T, which I'll film that. And I'm going to try to get these lines on, as difficult as it may be. Well, I'm not admitting defeat, but I'm walking away. Phil just called. I got to go over and we're going to work on that window. This freaking line right here is killing me. It won't go on. So I got to figure that out. But I'm going to walk away for now, take a deep breath. And I really wanted to have this thing running right now, but instead, not so much. All right, let's go do the window. All right, over here at the A4T, Phil's over working on Eric's grain truck over there. So I'm gonna get this thing uncovered. This tarp will go in the trash. It was a Harbor Freight tarp, and it served its purpose, but it's running pretty ragged right now. And a bunch of these rubber bungees also didn't fare too well. And just wanted to keep it covered long enough to just so it wasn't filling the. I gotta climb up there. There's a bunch of bungees on the front. Anyway, I didn't want the back open all winter. So, all right, I'm gonna climb up there and get those off and get this thing uncovered. All right, I got the tarp off, and I just cut and put in, well, not really cut, I drilled and put in my plate here that will weld the hinge onto for the rear window. I'm going to put some weather stripping around that real quick, the whole thing, and then I think we're about ready to put the window in and figure out where we need to weld. Well, Bill's got Eric's truck running, sat for a while, running just a little rich, but it doesn't sound too bad. All right, Phil and I got the window in. We're holding it in right now with the screws there. We've got the bolt through. What we'll do is push that piece up, tack that in, and then weld that, and then that's our inside of our hinge. We'll do that on both sides, and we'll be good to go. That's all. It's pretty simple. All right, so we got the welder going. Phil's up there. well, not MIG. I didn't have argon for the MIG, but I think this is going to work good. It's better than a tarp on there, so I can get this thing home. Something I noticed today when I was out here messing with this is, looks like the fuel tank is a little wet on the bottom. So I'm going to take that as a bad sign that this is going to need some work on the fuel tank also. But it's pretty full of diesel right now, as far as I know. And you can tell where I took the fenders off. So there's a lot of work to be done on this one, just like the other one. Each one has a little bit different characteristics. This one has definitely been used more, and there's more farmer fixes on this one. I did take off the little triangle thing for the door, so I'm going to use that on the other one. But this one's going to take some work for sure. But it's already got the, you see the wing windows on this. They got the hinges on them. So slight differences between them. Neither one of them have a PTO, but they both have 3 points. All right, we've got them welded in. And so the moment of truth, if the glass falls out, then Phil's got some problems. I already got problems. This is going to be hard to do on the camera, but it works. Opens all the way up, nothing fell off, so can't beat that. And then bring it back in, locks down. So it's better than having a tarp on it. And that'll work to help keep, rain's still gonna get in, but that'll limit it down some. So all right, time to pack up and go home. All right, it's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have good kids. I'm the father to yellow tractors, but that's okay. God had a different plan for me, and speaking of God, I was at church today. I did a little praying, maybe a little thinking when I should have been listening, but got this together. The zip ties are just to hold this line. It was hitting metal on metal up underneath the front there, so I'm just holding it down so it doesn't, the metal line doesn't wear. But I got that on. Not great, but I got it on enough to tighten it down, and I think with those clamps it'll be okay. I took it off down here and kind of did it. So I've secured all of my lines now, so everything should be good there. I'm going to fill up my antifreeze and my hydraulic fluid and let it sit for a while, so it can, because everything's pretty much dry on the hydraulic fluid. Give it time to kind of go work its way down through the system, make sure I don't have any catastrophic leaks, and then maybe later we'll try to start it. So it's kind of where I'm at. I just went through, tested everything to make sure that I had tightened everything back up, and I think that I did. Guess we'll find out. Got the funnel in for some antifreeze, and that's what's next. Well, as the day progressed, I got some family came over, so we had to hang out with them, which is all good. And then I cut the grass, but I filled my fluids before I did that. No leaks, which is good, except I noticed as I was kind of going around checking things just before I started it, that I was getting, looked like air bubbles from that steel line going in there around where it goes in. So if you see the puddle on the floor, when I started it, I had hydraulic fluid running out of there. So that line just goes in underneath and it connects over in there. It's short. I foresee Oliver Phil making me a rubber line to replace that. So I think what I'll do is pull this outside and get it where I'm going to take off the rear wheels and front wheels so I can sandblast. And it can leak all the way out there all at once. After I get off that rear wheel, I'll pull off that line have Phil make me a replacement. That's rubber that hopefully will not leak. And yeah, then I can keep moving on this thing. It's going to take like time. This week is already, it's going to be super hot this week. A lot going on. But it's going to take some time to prep it to sandblast and to paint, just in tenting off the back of the tractor there so I don't get sand nor paint any place I don't want it. So it does sound pretty cool without a muffler on it, though. I'm going to say it rumbles. I see why people put straight pipes on. So I think I'm going to clear a path so that I can get out quickly. Those buckets probably don't need to be there. I can move this stuff out of the way, get it out there, clean up my floor where there's going to be a line of hydraulic fluid, and park it outside. And then I doubt I'm going to pull those rear wheels off tonight, but at least it'll be out there. Maybe I will. I don't know. But nothing else is leaking. Hey, positive. Got to look at the positives. Nothing else was leaking. So, and the steering worked and the 3-point worked. So we're all good. It's just that one steel line. So Phil's braze job here appears to have sealed up my leak there. And yeah, if it weren't for that, perfection. But again, it's a short line. I'm pulling off that rear wheel anyway to sandblast, so it could be a lot worse. And I have caps that will cap all that, so I can cap it off if I forgot to keep too much hydraulic fluid from running out. And I just checked that on the old one that's out in the pan. So that's where we're at. I can't help that steel line is leaking. That's nobody's fault. It had a rubber line going in there when they had that filter behind the axle. So I don't know what went wrong, but something went wrong. We'll get it fixed. All right, while I move this, I might as well take you along for the ride. I will say that it's not good to have a tube of form a gasket under your front tire when you're turning it back and forth to get your power steering working. Ends up breaking the tube and it gets all over the floor. I had to clean that up too. So I think I've walked around. I think I've got everything else from underneath the tires. We're going to start this thing. I'm going to try to get it out there quickly. I will try to show you down there when that's leaking what I'm dealing with, but get it outside and get it set. So hopefully at some point this week I can get it blasted and get those painted. I want that to cure some before I put the wheels back on. There we go. Oh yeah, I gotta step on my... I gotta fix that too. The safety switch. This will work while it's still running. I'm gonna hop down there just because Phil was just on the phone with me. I mean, it's only fluid. Yeah. It's leaking from around where the tube goes into the fitting. Yeah, should get that shut off and definitely where it's leaking from. I just put my hand in the that and shut off the propane. Having fun. We are having fun, right? Okay. Propane's off. I'm gonna have to cover up the exhaust and the air intake. Couldn't get away if you were trying to steal this thing, because I think anybody could follow that trail. So we're outside. That's probably where I will sandblast those and then paint them. I'll move the A4T out of the way, and I'll shut the barn doors, and the overspray shouldn't be too bad because I'm really only doing those cast centers, painting them. So all right, well, I'm going to clean up my line of hydraulic fluid in here and clean up the floor back there, because I did scrape a whole bunch of crap off, and probably try to clean up a little bit more Formigasket. But stay tuned. We'll get this thing looking good, get that line fixed, and we'll move on. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Make comments if you want. Please like and subscribe. Kind of slowed down on my subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and we'll keep these projects coming. We got shows coming up in July, and some tractor drives and parades, and I want to utilize this thing, and I should be getting the hoods back. This thing's going to look good. So all right, till the next video.